Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Emily. Thank you so much for giving this channel a shot. Today we're going to be doing another vlog. This month I've been reading books out of my subscription boxes to try to get that part of my TBR a little bit lower because it was piling up quite a bit. And this vlog in general is going to be romance books from Afterlight, which is the romance side of Illumicrate's offerings, and then one little bonus book. So I'm just going to go through them real quick at the beginning. I am going to format this one, I think, a little bit differently. I'm going to give my ratings after I finish a book rather than doing a giant wrap up at the end. I'm just going to give you ratings as we go along to hopefully keep this a little bit shorter, a little more concise. So we're going to try that for this. We'll see if I like it. Let me know, since this is a romance vlog, what romance is on your TBR that's like the highest on your TBR right now. Very nosy, very curious to see what everybody's looking forward to reading. So let me know down in the comments below. And now we'll just get started. The first book I'm reading for this vlog is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is her newest release. This is the newest part of the Heartstrings, I believe it's going to be called, trilogy, interconnected trilogy. And this is a Sleepless in Seattle, I believe, retelling. I have already started reading this. I'm literally like halfway through. I started reading it late last night, but most of it today at work, before work. This is following Aiden and Lucy. Aiden is a radio host that does like a night show, and it's like a love advice show, but he doesn't really believe in love. He's a little jaded. And then Lucy has a daughter who calls into the hotline to get help for her own mother because she's like, my mom won't date. Help me find somebody for my mother to date. So this becomes this huge viral thing, and she ends up on the show, and now, like, he's trying to help find her love. Like, everybody's invested, like, the listeners, and it's helping his show because everyone wants to listen and hear what's happening with Lucy. The way she spoke about love is very relatable to a lot of people. Like, that was the big thing about why everybody was paying attention to it. So I'm really enjoying this so far. Really looking forward to seeing how it ends, but it is reading. I don't want to put it down. I can't stop thinking about it when I'm not reading it. And like I said, I started this at like 8:30 last night, and I'm already halfway through, and all I've done was read before work and then for a little bit at lunch today. So I'm hoping I'm going to just fly through this because I really want to know how it ends, but I'm really enjoying it. I enjoy B.K. Borison's writing. I've read the entire Love Light Farm series. I enjoyed it. I loved the last book, Business Casual was my favorite. But Aiden is just, the boy has fallen hard, and he's fallen fast, and he is protective as hell, and I am loving it. So if that's the kind of trope you like, he is so protective of her, and he is just, you know, he realized right away he was not a fan of this whole matchmaker thing. She's definitely a little bit behind in this whole thing. I think there's definitely mutual feelings, but Aiden is falling hard and fast, so I love that. So looking forward to finishing this one out. I'll save the surprise book for last. And then I think I'm gonna go to I Did Something Bad after that by Pema with That War. And this is about a journalist and an actor, and I believe they're in, like, takes place in like India, and she's over there to interview him because he's never really given like a big interview, like he's going to offer for her publication, and they like form a friendship or whatever, and something happens when they're in the park one night, and I think they kill somebody. It implies that something like that accidentally kills somebody, and they're trying to keep it a secret. So they get closer because of that and because of the interviewing and all of that, and it's a romance. I think we know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be like acquaintances to friends to lovers to also like secret keepers. Not exactly sure, but it sounds really interesting. Of course, it's a Taylor Swift lyric. What more could you want? So looking forward to this. I'll obviously update more once I start reading it. I also have Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. This is a like semi-paranormal monster romance. We have this girl that goes back to her homeland, Scotland, to deal with her grandmother's affairs, I think, something to do with her grandmother's house, and she has these neighbors that their families have been at, like, war, like, arguing for years and years and years, and she meets the son, who I think is the romantic interest, obviously, and I believe the family is, like, the Loch Ness Monsters. Lock and Key, Scotland, pretty sure that's how it is. Nessie's on the side, pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Not going to read too much into it other than that, because I've gone into pretty much all of Lana's books blind. But I have heard mixed reviews about this, but you know, I'm my own critic. I am my own judge. I will see what I think of it, but we'll see. It's a beautiful book, so I'm hoping I really enjoy it. And I love thinking of a character in my head with a Scottish accent, so that might also help. But I'll be reading this one as well. And then I have Best Text Ever by Nadia El-Fassi. I'm not 100% sure what this one's about. I think, yeah, okay, so she's a kitchen witch, Dina, and she has a curse on her that, like, anybody that falls in love with her gets hurt, or she's gonna hurt them. And Scott is a museum curator, recently back in London after a brutal breakup, looking to make up for the time he missed, determined to be the perfect best man at his best friend's upcoming wedding, but his plans take an unexpected turn when he meets the bewitching Maid of Honor. So, Maid of Honor, best man, she has a curse on her that she will hurt anybody that falls for her, so she's trying to break the spell before she breaks both of their hearts. That's all I know. Seems really cute. Did I want to read this more in the fall? Yes, but you know what? I can only read so many books in the fall, and I missed out on reading it last fall, so we're just gonna read it now. And then the surprise bonus book. I have rewinded back early because Barnes & Noble done messed up. So I am going to be reading this during this vlog. I'm not going to give spoilers in any way, shape, or form. I do not want to spoil this for anybody. I try really hard not to give spoilers for any of these books, but it's a romance. This is Rio and Hallie. Hallie? Yeah, Hallie's romance. And Rio is a defenseman on the same team that Xander's was on from the first book in the Windy City series. And we've known him and loved him as, like, Indy's BFF, and he's just been, like, a fun, good time this entire series, and we've all been waiting for his romance. I say we. I've been waiting for his romance, and I believe this is second chance. Like, I think he and Hallie knew each other when they were younger. They may have been involved when they were younger, and she comes back into his life, and I think it goes from there. I love a good second chance, like, childhood friends to lovers situation, so I am so looking forward to this. I've been seeing snippets, not from anybody spoiling it necessarily, but from, like, the publisher posting some lines and things from this book, and I've just been itching to get to it. So I think I'm going to read this third. That is my plan, because I really do want to read this to get it back to my sister so she can read it as soon as possible. I mean, back to her, it's mine. She's going to borrow it, but depending on timing, she may just have to wait until it's out on KU, but we'll see. So those are the 5 books I plan on reading this week. Looking forward to all of them. I'm actually very excited about all of these books, so I will come back when, probably when I'm done with First Time Caller, just because that's where I am right now, is halfway through, and I probably won't have anything else to say until I'm done. If I do, you'll see me before then, but if not, I'll check in later with an update and moving on to the next book. Okay, finished First Time Caller. I still really liked it. I think Aiden started to get a little too in his head. At one point it was getting a little annoying because he doesn't believe in love, didn't really believe in love. I don't know how to describe it. Like, he was jaded against love, and there was really no reason for him to be that way against, like, romantic love. They explained why he was that way, but to me that didn't track for, like, romantic love. So that was a little overdone to me, I think, but still enjoyed the story. It was still really sweet. For someone that's never seen Sleepless in Seattle, I think that's what it was based off of. I think it was still a really fun story, and I didn't know, like, what to expect with that. Obviously, I knew that they were gonna end up together because it's a romance book, but their story and the way they get there and the trajectory that their, like, relationship took, it was good. It was good. There was, like I said, a part in there where I was getting a little annoyed at him, even though I like him. I like his character. I love Lucy. She's, like, a strong, independent woman. Love that. But there was about, like, 100 pages towards the end where I was just like, he's gonna screw this up for something stupid, and I just wasn't looking forward to that part of it. But once I got through that, I was good. So I think this is gonna be, like, a 3.5, a 3.75. Originally, it was looking like it was gonna be in the 4-star range for me, but then I kind of hit that rut with them, and it kind of lost it for me. Still really liked it. Would definitely recommend it, especially if you like B.K. Borison's writing. Cute story. I will be reading the other 2 books that come out in the series without a doubt. But I think this is going to be somewhere between, like, a 3.5 and a 3.75 for me. Now I'm going to start I Did Something Bad by Pema Thetwar. And I explained a little bit earlier, like, what this was about. Journalist goes to India to interview this actor who's never really given a big interview before, that he's talked a lot about, and, like, basically one where he's talked about himself a lot, I think. He's notoriously private and doesn't show any signs of letting down his walls. And then one night they're kind of in the park and something happens, and now they have this secret they need to keep because something happened. I think I know what happens based on, like, what it's described as, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna start this one. Probably not gonna get very far tonight, but I will update when I get home from work tomorrow. Hey everyone, back again. update on I Did Something Bad. So we're following Kin, who is a journalist in Myanmar, and she is doing an exclusive interview of Tyler, who is this like really super famous actor. He's very, very private about his personal life, and he has like allowed them to do this 2-month thing basically where she follows him around, and she's gonna write this huge Vogue story at the end. And she thinks he's hiding something, like so does her boss, so that's why they're like, her boss was like, you need to figure out what he's hiding, like what secret project or like secret relationship or just like secret that he's hiding. So she's following him around, and he's definitely not what she expects at first, and she gets like, she has a really hard time reading him. Like, she's usually really good at reading people, she's a journalist, that's her job, but she has a really, really hard time trying to figure him out at the beginning, and she still is. I'm about 50% of the way through the book, she's still having issues. Something happens the first night that they're filming, and I laughed so hard. I probably should not have laughed during this scene, because it was like, it's not funny. Like, what they did was not funny, but like the circumstances as to what happened, I'm like, yeah, that would happen to me. So if you've read this book, you know, but I'm not going to say what happened just because I don't want to. I think that's something that you should go into, but it is the circumstance that keeps them close, because it's a secret now that they have to keep together. And she's just having a lot of issues trusting him, which, to be fair, like, seeing how he's lying to all these other people around him about what happened and how easily he's lying, I'd be a little concerned too that he's lying to me, but he's an actor. That's what they do. But there's definitely like an attraction, and she's definitely seeing him as like somebody different than what she thought. And I think it's going to be really fun and interesting and a different take on a love story, because it's very reluctant on her end, and like her point of view is the one we're really getting, but you can tell that like he's definitely sending out the signals that he's interested, and she's just trying to ignore it. But I think it's really cute. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. It's funny, but it's also like, I can relate to this main character so much, and I just love her. I love Kin. So we shall see what ends up happening, but I think it's honestly, it's a good time. I'm having a good time. She has another book coming out, and if this one continues to just be fun, I will definitely be picking that up when it comes out. I think like September or something. I cannot remember what it's called, but it has the similar vibes. I think I read the synopsis not that long ago, but I'm having fun. So when I'm done, I will update and decide what book. I think I know what book I'm reading next. I'll see you then. Finished. What, I Did Something Bad. I'll put this jacket back on now. This was definitely like a one of us is famous trope, but also a little bit like her being famous too, like definitely not as famous as he is, but you know, grappling with all of that and how they can't really be seen together in public. And it was also kind of like a little forbidden because she was writing this article about him that couldn't be biased and everything, so the editor was like, you have to be careful, you can't get too close to him, blah 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 blah. The whole mystery aspect, not even mystery aspect, is like, we kind of know what happens at the beginning that causes them to have that secret that they need to hold, but like the whole, can they keep it a secret, is somebody gonna find out, are the police gonna keep investigating what happened, da, 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 that kind of whole thing. That definitely helped keep the story moving along too. I am so tired right now, my eyes are burning, but I wanted to finish this because I was enjoying it so much. I don't know, it's just like a different type of a story, and I like the way that he fell, and he fell so hard, and he fell fast, and she just wasn't seeing the signs that he was giving her. I love that, because these were like very similar in that everything he was doing in both of these books was showing her that he cared, and that he wanted her to like keep her safe and keep her happy, and he was like her biggest cheerleader in her work and everything. Like, same guy, and I'm loving that right now apparently. So, and I have a feeling this is gonna give the same vibes, because Rio, I'm so excited to read this. I am not starting this tonight because, again, eyeballs are burning, but I'm very excited to get started on Rewind It Back. Oh, I have to give a rating on this now. That's how I'm doing this now. I also have a little bit of like ADHD right now. I think I'm around a 4 for this. I might come back at the end and give like my final ratings on all of these after I've sat on them, but I literally just finished this. but I would probably rate this one a little bit higher than this one just because my attention was held a little bit more with this. I liked both couples, but in their own way, but I think I liked this a little bit more, which is why I think I'm around like a 4, roughly. But instead of giving a synopsis at the end, I will probably just come back and quickly go through my ratings. But gonna be starting Rewind It Back tomorrow morning before work, providing no issues getting in and I have some time, but I'm very excited for this. I have been waiting for this book for so long, and I'm so happy that Barnes & Noble done messed up and I got it a few weeks early. Although I'm only going to be reading it, like, it comes out a week from today, I think. I will double check that. I can't remember if this comes out on the 20th or the 27th. I'm not sure. But anyway, very excited to read this. And yeah, I will just come back to y'all tomorrow when I'm home. And I will give very, very, very vague thoughts on this. If you've read the series, you're going to know most of the characters in it already. This is our 5th and final couple, and we know Rio. We love Rio. He's been around. He's the wonderful, like, adorable, sweet defenseman that always has his, like, boombox on him, and he's, like, everybody's biggest cheerleader, and is obsessed with Ryan Shea maybe a little bit more than Indy, who's his BFF. And I'm just so excited to see, first of all, where all my couples are. I want, like, all of them, and I want to know what they're all doing. But I'm so happy for Rio to finally get his happily ever after. So I'll touch base with you guys tomorrow. Hey everyone, it is Wednesday evening, and I am 1/3 of the way through this. I never thought we'd see the day where someone threatened Ryan Shea's position at the top of my realistic book boyfriends. I'm talking like not a fairy or there's no dragons in their world. Book boyfriend list. Ryan Shea tops it. He has topped it since I read that book. And Mr. Rio, he might dethrone him. I'm saying it now. He may. Oh, this boy. And the yearning in this book is killing me. It's absolutely killing me. And the banter is spot on. And I think that's why I like it, because like Indy and Ryan had their own banter in their own way. It also could be that I'm just really loving this book too, because we're getting all of the couples. And I love that. I love seeing these people that we've grown to know and love over these last 4 books all together in this one. But Rio is like next level in this. Like, I've loved him throughout this entire series. I've thought he is like the comedic relief. He is just a happy, like, fun dude. And you just felt so bad for him because he just wanted to find love. And now we're seeing him in his own, in like the leading man part of it. And oh my God, she's killing it. She's killing it with this one. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I'm sure the people that have read the rest of the series will have no problem picking this up because we've all been waiting for Rio's book, but oh, it's delivering right now. She saved a good one for last. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to keep reading. This is giving me 5-star feels right now, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm only 1/3 of the way in, so it could derail. But I'm saying it now. I'm getting 5-star feelings. There's also new covers releasing of this I just saw today. This will be the first new cover released, and then they're being trad published, and then the rest of them are going to come out, and they're going to have a sprayed edge. But quite honestly, like, I love the new covers. I think they're really cool. I would buy them if I didn't own these because I really like these covers. I don't typically like almost like stock picture art and everything, but it just fits this series, and it's just such a colorful series, and I don't think I'm gonna get the other ones. We'll see. But yeah, those are coming out. Like, this one's coming out at the same time that this book comes out, and then the next ones come out like October, November, December, January, I want to say. But now that I've just, advertised for Liz Tom Ford, gonna get back to reading, and I'll update y'all later. Okay, finished. Rewind it back, and I can officially say Ryan Shea has been dethroned as my #1 realistic book boyfriend. Rio DeLuca. This book was everything I was hoping it would be and more, not just with like Hallie and Rio's relationship, but with the way that Liz Tom Ford wrapped up the series with like all of the couples and all of the friendships and the little things that were Easter egged throughout. We really got to understand why Rio was the way he was and acted the way he was. And it was just like so perfect. And the romance between the two, absolutely stunning. And Rio, we finally got to see like the real him. I feel like he's been struggling with things, like, and not wanting to talk about it, and a lot of it had to do with Hallie, and we finally got to see, like, the real Rio, and I've loved him in the previous 4 books, but I absolutely adored him in this one. It's just, he was perfect, and he is now #1 book boyfriend. 5 stars, without a doubt, 5-star read. I don't know how much I've said about this one because I'm really trying not to talk too much about it because it is not out yet when this, or it'll just, I think, have come out when I release this vlog. And it's basically about Rio DeLuca, who we've known. He's a defenseman for the Chicago Raptors, I want to say their team is. Hockey team in Chicago. It's a fake team. Hockey team in Chicago. And we've seen him throughout the entirety of this series. He's just kind of like the goofy friend that he's like he reminds me of Raj from The Big Bang Theory. Like, the guy that always hung out with the girls because, like, they just got him and he was, like, best guy friend material. And he was just, like, a goofy fun time. Always had his boombox. We get the history of the boombox in this one. Like, it all just kind of came together. At the beginning of this, his next door neighbor, who I think Liz Ford may have been setting up another interconnected standalone series. I think the next book she's releasing has to do with Monty based on, like, what she put in the back of this book. But I think that there may be another interconnected standalone series coming that may have something to do with Rio's neighbor, Ren, and her family, because she really set that up, I think, at the end of the book, like the last chapter, that epilogue, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, she has her home redone by an interior designer because her brothers are all, like, famous professional athletes, and her one brother buys her the house so that she has a house to go to live in for school. And knowing that he's about to sell it, they kind of, like, redo it so that it sells for, like, you know, above market value, whatever. Well, Rio sees the house and he's like, you know, I've been really wanting to do something with mine. Sign me up. Like, who's your interior designer? Well, it's Hallie. And they have a history that I'm not even going to get into, but they have a history. So it's a little rough goings at first, but eventually we got there. And I mean, it's a romance. We all know that it's a romance, but they're just, like, the banter between the two of them too was just, like, spot on. And I think that that's better when you have a couple that has known each other forever and maybe even were friends before they became a couple and before they became lovers, second chance. Like, there's just that banter is just spot on. And this was absolute perfection. Absolute perfection. So read it. I'm sure that people, like I said, that have read the rest of the series will have no problems reading it. But, like, if you have no desire to read the rest of the series, still read that book. It may not hit as hard because you don't have the background, but it was just a very well written romance. Now I'm going to read Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. This is a monster-esque romance, I think has been described as, because he is the Loch Ness Monster. And Kiana, Key, they call her, is used to secrets. After her father's death, she finds herself thrust into a world she always refused to speak of, with just a bedtime story about the monster that saved her father's life. And the name of her estranged grandmother, she has no idea what she'll find in Scotland, but being rescued by a gorgeous, angry Scotsman is at least the last thing she expects. Lachlan Greer has his own secrets to keep, especially from the bonny lass he pulls to safety from the slippery shore, one with captivating eyes and a last name he's been taught not to trust. Someone he definitely doesn't want to find. Someone he definitely doesn't find wildly attractive. So soon it becomes clear they might be the key to uncovering each other's secrets, and up against time, mysteries, and a centuries-old curse, they'll quickly discover that magic might not be the only... In Centuries-Old Curse, they quickly discover that magic might not only be in fairy tales, and that love can be a real Loch Ness. A real Loch Ness. I totally messed up the pun. Oh well. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this one. I have liked the Lana Ferguson books that I have consumed in either audiobook or reading in the past. But this may be, like, the closest to a legitimate monster romance that I've ever read. Because I don't really consider, like, the Omegaverse that. Because I know they're werewolves, but she's human, as far as I know. So this will be a little different for me, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. He's Scottish, so that has to help, right? I will update tomorrow when I get home with some thoughts and where I am with this book. Friday evening, and I'm just over 50% of the way through Lock and Key. I am hoping to finish this tonight because I really want to get to some other books this weekend, because you'll see in my next vlog, but I want to get through this, and then obviously Best Hex Ever, which is the final book in this vlog, relatively quickly. But anyway, that was neither here nor there. Anyway, So I'm about 50% of the way through Lock and Key, and I think it started off a little slow for me. I wasn't like loving it when I started, like the first, I think I read 100 pages last night, and it just like wasn't holding my attention, and I was getting a little worried because I've liked every other Lana Ferguson book that I've read, and I should say consumed, because the other 3 books that she has written I listened to. This is the first one that I physically read, so I was a little worried it was me. Maybe I don't like the narrators in my mind, but it is picking up now. I am enjoying it. I'm liking a couple more. Like at first they were kind of off-putting to me because they were just so mean to each other and I just didn't see how it was going to work. But now it's getting better. So basically we have Lachlan and Kayana, and Lachlan has lived in Scotland his whole life and he is the monster. Obviously it's the Loch Ness Monster, and there's obviously more to that than just me telling you that, but I'm not going to get into the details because that's a little too spoilery. It's not like spoilery, but I just don't want to get into the meat of the story. I'm just going to tell you the overall synopsis. And then Kayana's dad lived in Scotland growing up, and she was born in America, so he left right before she was born because of things that may or may not have to do with the Loch Ness Monster. Again, that's probably the big plot of the book, so I'm not going to get into that. But he leaves when he and his wife find out that they're having a girl. And there was like a big blowout between him and his mother. And she was like, basically, if you leave, you walk out the door, you're never welcome back. So at the beginning, we're dealing with Kayana dealing with the fact that her father has just passed. So she goes back to Scotland, she goes to Scotland for the first time to meet her grandmother. And doesn't tell her grandmother she's coming, and there's just like this whole big blow up about that too, because her grandmother's like, I didn't want you here. So we're dealing with the family dynamics in that aspect, and then she meets Lachlan, who saves her from falling into the loch, and he lives on the same land that her grandparents own as like the groundskeeper and like farmhand. But he's also got a secret that he's holding onto, and he's on that land for a reason, and he's trying to do something, and he is now trying to get her to help. And she is finding things out about herself that she didn't know, and he's finding things out about her that he didn't even know was a thing. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot of like magic and mythical things in this, and it's really a fun time now that we're getting into the meat of the story. So I'm going to continue reading. I am liking the couple now that they're not at each other's throats in like an annoying way. Now they're kind of accepting that they were maybe picking on each other because they were attracted to each other and not because they actually hate each other. But we'll see. So, gonna keep reading, and I will update y'all tomorrow morning. Hopefully I finished this and we can start the final book in the vlog. Hey everyone, it is Saturday like evening now. I didn't get as much read last night, and then this morning I had like errands to run that ended up taking longer because went some places I wasn't expecting. Bought some nice things for my new things for the book room, but I didn't get a lot of reading done today. So I did finish Lock and Key just now, and I would say that this is probably my least favorite out of her books. I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't as like gripping, and like it didn't catch my attention as much as her other ones, which could be why like I just wasn't itching to pick it back up. I'd still give this like a 3.5 because I did enjoy it. I liked the romance. There is no third act breakup in this book, which I like. I'm finding I like more and more when I read books now, romance books, that when there's an issue, they just handle it rather than breaking up and having to have other people convince them to talk to each other. Like I like it when they deal with their problems like adults. So I did like that about it, and the story was entertaining. The monster parts were a little weird, but I still really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. It's just probably my least favorite out of the books that I've read / consumed by her. The whole point of it was just like them trying to figure out, like he's a Loch Ness Monster because he's cursed. So the whole thing is figuring out why the curse happened, if it can be undone, how it can be undone, how it's related to the land, the families, all of that kind of stuff. Like that's the whole plot of the book. But it was still a very sweet story, and he was just, I don't know, like the way that the relationship went from them like kind of hating each other to like accepting that they had feelings for each other was a little weird for me too. I just felt like it happened abruptly, but still enjoyed it. Still would recommend it. And it was definitely about as far into a monster romance I could ever see myself going, but it is what it is. And then the final book we're going to read in this vlog is Best Hex Ever, which is about, I believe she's the maid of honor and he's the best man in a wedding. And she has a family curse that like anybody that she ends up having feelings for her, or like anybody that she ends up having feelings for, or anybody that ends up having feelings for her is going to get hurt somehow. I'm not exactly sure how it works, just one way or the other, and they're like, they get hurt. I don't know what that means. So Other than that, I think she's like a baker, and I don't know what he is. Museum curator. So I think this will be fun. Probably more of a fall read, but I'll read it now and then let you know if it's something to read in the fall. So gonna start on this. It's not very long, so hopefully I can get, it's still early in the evening, it is evening, but this is like 180 pages, or 280 pages. So it's not too long. I should be able to get about 50% of the way through, if not further, tonight. So I will update you all tomorrow, or when I make it so far in this book that I have something to say. It is officially the end of the vlog. I did not update on best text ever just because it was so short, and I just really didn't feel like there was any point in the book where I really felt like I needed to stop and tell you what was happening. So I'll just give my final thoughts now on it. This follows a witch who has a hex on her that basically means anybody that falls in love with her is going to be hurt. And that is like physically, like harm will come to them if they fall in love with her and they realize they love her. So she's been trying to like keep herself distant from people for the past, I think it's like significant amount of like 10 years or so, I want to say, in this. And she's basically just like using flings and stuff and stays away from people that she actually feels like she could have feelings for because she doesn't want them to get hurt. Enter Scott, who is a museum curator back in town, back in London, after years where he was just kind of traveling to try to escape being in a relationship that wasn't ideal. And they meet, they have like their own little meet cute, and then end up being the best man and the maid of honor in their respective best friends' weddings, and things heat up really quick from there. That's why I just don't feel like there was a lot to really unpack with this book. They met, immediate attraction, we learn about the curse, we learn about what happened with him, and then from there it's just like physical attraction. I didn't really feel an emotional connection to them. Like, she is a witch, so she does talk about like these feelings and stuff that she's getting, so I'm sure that there was a lot of an emotional attraction there, but to me this was kind of baseline physical attraction, which was fine because I actually kind of wanted a spicy book, and this was a lot spicier than I was expecting it to be. Again, fine, because the next book I'm going into in another vlog is even spicier, so it's just kind of amping me up for that. But definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting this to be cozier and like cutesy and everything, and it ended up being quite the spicy little read. So I gave this a 3-star. Again, just like the emotional attachment and the emotional depth wasn't there for me, but it's just still a fun time. Like, it definitely had fall spooky vibes, witchy vibes. The atmosphere was more fitting for a fall read. So I would probably recommend saving this for that time of the year if you want a fall romance. But I still really enjoyed it. I liked the characters. It just, as a romance, was very base level for me, so 3 stars. And then just to quickly go through the ratings, because I'm not going to talk about the books again in detail, but we'll go reverse order. I ended up giving Under Lock and Key 3.5 stars. Rewind It Back was 5 stars. Love this book. Pick it up. It should have come out yesterday from when this video comes out. I Did Something Bad was 4 stars, and BK Borison's First Time Caller was 3.75. So I'd say, like, other than that 5-star, it was just a very mid reading vlog. That is pretty common for me with a romance. Like, it's hard for me to rate romances very high unless I truly connect with the characters and obsess and I just want to keep reading, and that typically happens more in interconnected standalone series just because you have more time to learn the characters and develop, like, emotions, I guess, around them, because you're learning about them throughout many books, or like, you know that they're gonna be sticking around for a while. So that is probably another reason why Rewind It Back was such a highly rated book. I was looking forward to that for 4 books. I loved the character, but these standalone ones are a little bit harder for me to give high ratings to. So that is all for this vlog. Thank you so much if you've made it this far for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, your thoughts, any of them that are on your TBR. Let me know if you're looking forward to reading them, and I thank you all again and hope to see you in the next video.